TV. I'm your host Junior, and thanks for joining us. This is part 2 of our NCAA March Madness Sweet 16 special. If you haven't seen the first part, that went up yesterday. We had a lot of fun making it, hopefully have a lot of fun viewing it, and find some tips that you might have otherwise missed or not thought about. But without further ado, let's get in. We've got 4 games to cover and not a lot of time. To our first game of the day, Creighton Vs Gonzaga. We'll start with Creighton. Got here with a 63-62 win over 12th ranked UC Santa Barbara. Tough win. They didn't look great. Santa Barbara didn't look great either. You could sort of see the difference between them and the top ranked teams in the nation. Backed up with a good win over their Ohio Bobcats, 72-58. Led by Marcus Zagorowski's 15.6 points per game. Creighton now finds itself in the Sweet 16. Look, I'm not sold on Creighton. I'm not going to lie. I think they're a good team. I think they're a hard toiling team. But I think there's a big jump between the elite, the Gonzagas, the Baylors and Creighton. And I think they're on the bottom rung. And I think it's noticeable when you watch them play. That said, they are the 20th ranked offense and the 41st ranked defense in the nation. They're no mugs. I just think you're going to see the difference in class in this game. We'll skip to Gonzaga. Had nothing short of a hit out against Norfolk State, 98-55, and then put on a bit of a show to beat Oklahoma 87-71. Led by Corey Kispert, scoring 19.3 points per game. They're the number 1 ranked offense in the nation, the number 7 ranked defense. You put that together with Drew Timm and this mustache. I mean, this is something spectacular, is it not? There must be magic in it. I don't know what it is. If Gonzaga do go through to break their perennial choking and take a national championship, I think this should become a thing. And everyone who's going for a title needs to have a mustache like this. Drew Timm, you are a legend, and thank you for that moment. Look, if you look at the betting odds, there's not a lot of love here for Creighton, and I think that's fair enough. 7-1, Gonzaga 1-14, and the spread's 13.5. Look, Gonzaga's going to win. I can't suggest you bet on them at those odds, but they're going to win. Spread's a bit more interesting. You are going against the 41st ranked defense in the nation. They're no mugs. I just think Gonzaga's going to go right through them. Just right through them. I think they'll be up by 10 or 12 at the half, and I think they'll win this game by 20-25. And I don't think that's a disrespectful summation on Creighton. I just think Gonzaga, this is the year for them. And if they are going to choke, it's not going to be this game. So that's our thoughts. Gonzaga to win, Gonzaga to beat the spread. So, on to our next game. Florida State versus Michigan. I think it's going to be a great game. It's actually possibly the game of the round. I'm a bit biased as to what that is. You can work that one out later if you've seen the first video, you already know. Look, Florida State got in here, beat the 13th ranked UNC Greensboro 64-54. Did what they were meant to do. And then they took on the number 5 Colorado and beat them 71-53. That's the game that really sticks out for me. I thought Colorado looked sensational when they beat Georgetown by 23 a couple of days earlier, and I really thought, I thought they'd win the game, if I'm honest. So for Florida to win so dominantly, it made me take notice in particular. Led by MJ Walker's 12.5 points per game. I think they're a solid all-round team. They get the job done. Is it enough to beat Michigan though? I don't think so, and this is why. So if you look at Michigan, good hit out against Southern Texas, the 16th seed, 82-66. Come together a bit better with LSU, 86-78. They haven't looked spectacular in any games, but they look like they're building. They had the offense going in the first game, the defense came together in the second game. You just feel like the pieces of the puzzle, they're all there, and I think they're going to come together for this match. Led by Hunter Dickinson's 14.3 points per game, and the 28.4 rebounds per game, the team averages. I just see them overpowering slowly the offensive potential here of Florida State. I think it'll be a tight affair. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any stretch to either side. I think they're both going to knuckle down. It definitely won't be the high scoring affair that some of the previous games have been. If you look at the odds, Florida State 13-10. To be fair, there's some value there. It wouldn't be the biggest shock if they won. Michigan at 3-5 is probably a bit leaner than I'd have liked it, but I do think Michigan wins, and the spread's 3.5. We're taking Michigan. We just think they're the better all-round team with the higher upside and the better potential, and we think they're peaking at just the right time. And we're going to take them with the spread, not because we think it'll be a blowout by any stretch, as we've said, but we think it'll probably be up by 2 or 3 at halftime and probably another 3 or 4 in the second half. So we're thinking somewhere between 6 and 10. So if they're going to give us 4, we're going to take the overs there. So that's our thoughts. Michigan versus Florida State. Enjoy the game. UCLA Alabama. What a game this promises to be, as some of the old diehards of sport come together one more time. On a side note, is there any sport Alabama isn't good at? They just dominate collegiate sport. Unfortunately, I don't support them, otherwise I'd be very happy. But if you feel the need to share the love with USC, please do. It'll just be a great game. UCLA in here on the back of a 73-62 win over BYU. Good game, looks solid. Nothing really to complain about that game, if I'm honest, if you're a UCLA fan. And then they backed it up with a win over Abilene Christian. Looked a lot better that game. 67-47 with Johnny Zhuang being the star of the show there with his 15 points per game average. What I like about UCLA is there isn't really a superstar there. No disrespect to Johnny. It's the way they share the ball. 5 players average more than 10 points per game, so you de-risk taking out one player, and I think that's one of their strengths. Another one is not a star-studded team, but a great team. You look at Alabama on the flip side, beat Iona 66-55. I wouldn't say they were overly impressive that night. Did the job. And then the 10th seed Maryland 96-77. Looked a lot better that night, to be fair, coming into the tournament. With Jaden Shackelford being the star of the show here with 14.1 points per game. What I like about Alabama is they just clean up the trash. It's the 40-plus rebounds per game they average. You dominate the ball, you dominate possessions. If they limit turnovers, there's only one outcome, and that's a win. And that's why Bama's been so strong. If we look at the lines here, UCLA at 21-10. To be fair, there's some decent value there, and if you're hot on them, I wouldn't dissuade you. We like Bama at 4-11. I think Bama will probably push into the next round here and relatively comfortably. The spread at 5.5 is interesting. Honestly, this is a coin toss. UCLA has kept the defense tight. I think Bama brings more to the table, and I think they're just going to get more field goals. We're going to take Bama, not with a ton of confidence, mind you, to beat the spread. I think this could be a lot tighter. Again, if somebody goes here in Bama to get 15, 20 points, the stranger things have happened. I don't think it will. So, our tip for this game, Bama to win. Appreciate 4-11 is nothing to get excited about. Tentatively, Bama to beat the spread, but this one will be tough. Sorry, I hear the USC fight song, and it just brings back great memories. Usually with college football, but here they are in the Sweet 16, and for those of you who haven't seen the first video or listened to the first part of this one, I'm a very biased USC fan. I will do my best to give a good, honest feedback on how I think this game will go, but do take it with a grain of salt. Look, let's start with Oregon. They advanced through the first round due to COVID concerns with VCU. Very disappointing for VCU. I hope their fans, family, and supporters have all recovered, anyone who's impacted, and my heart goes out to players who have not going to get the opportunity to possibly play in the NCAA tournament moving forward through lack of qualification, graduating, etc. So a very sad way to get through to the second round. That said, they got to the second round, and they took on the number 2 ranked Iowa, and what a game, 95-80. Decimated a side that I thought was destined for the Elite Eight and possibly a run at the title game. First half, it was a very tight affair. Second half, you could feel Oregon just getting ahead. But that last 7-8 minutes, mate, it was all Oregon, and the scoreline reflects that. I thought it'd be a lot tougher game. I thought, as I said, Iowa would get through. So I had to sit back and go, actually, this team's a real deal. Led by Eugene Omoruyi, 16.7 points per game. It's sort of flown under the radar, the 12th ranked offense in the nation, and I think a lot of respect's got to be given to the team. I don't think that the star power that USC does, but a very well drilled team, a very well coached team, a very well rounded team. If we go to USC, did what they had to do against number 11 Drake, 72-56. Look, there's not a lot to shout home about. It was good to watch. It's never really in doubt. But the Jayhawks game against the number 3 Kansas City, 85-51. They were brilliant that day. Actually, I think they'd have beaten anyone in the country except maybe Gonzaga. Bailey thrown there as well. They just looked unstoppable. The Mobley brothers are the real deal, and Evan, he's playing for the number 1 draft pick at the NBA. Let's be honest, and it showed on the night. Look, the odds here are pretty reasonable. Oregon 23-20 is definitely not the worst bet I've ever seen. USC at 3-4 is not the worst either, and the spread's 2.5. I am backing USC, but I'm backing them for two reasons in particular. One is the last time they played, which was on the 23rd of Feb, which isn't that long ago, it's only 4 weeks ago, they won 72-58, and they'd blown them out of the water by half time. They are not as well rounded as Oregon, but the Mobley brothers and Evan in particular, he is playing for the number 1 pick. And if what we saw against Kansas turns up against Oregon, it's going to be a 10 to 12 point win for USC. I also think that the school, the program, this is USC's shot. Evan was the highest ranking person to ever join out of high school, and they're going to want to maximise this. And I think the squad will rally around this, and I think he's going to want to repay to the school. I think he feels a little hard done by, or forgotten that he's not at one of the blue blood, if you want to say, a basketball school. So I'm really looking at him to put on an MVP performance. I think he will be the difference, and I think USC will progress. I do not think USC will win the tournament, believe me. One can dream, but that won't happen. But I do think they will find a way to get through Oregon and into the final position in the Elite Eight, and represent the Pac-12 and do us proud. So that's our tip: USC and USC to beat the spread. That brings us to the end of this episode and part 2 of our preview of the NCAA March Madness Sweet 16 tournament for 2021. We hope you've enjoyed it. As always, these are our thoughts and musings. You don't have to agree. It's more than fine. We like to think we get it right more than we get wrong, and that you find some value in there, and that we've given you a couple of winners. I appreciate throwing out 1 to 14 Gonzagas aren't exactly valuable. We have to report on each game, and that's who we think will win. As always, if you're going to gamble responsibly. And just enjoy the tournament, have some fun, have some video calls, Skype with your lads and ladies, and just enjoy this time of year. Spring, championship basketball, what more could you want? I'm Junior signing off. Have a great weekend and enjoy the Sweet 16. And I'll leave you with this.